Welcome to the last speaker. Siyabonga standing in front of you. Just before we carry on, I just want to ask two questions to Sasha. Why did Bruce and Rajesh go twice? Is there something that I did wrong? Because I would have loved to go twice, Sasha. Yes. So if these guys, there's something I did wrong, please let me know. Welcome to this wonderful forum. It's always nice to share stage with industry influencers, people that I've known, that I've worked with in my earlier years. Basically, I'm the owner of Isiqiniseko. What is Isiqiniseko? Normally, people struggle with the word Isiqiniseko, but the lady here, she got it right. So normally I give 10 bonus points for somebody who's able to pronounce it properly with that part. That is the most difficult one. Isiqiniseko validation is basically an quality engineering, encompasses all the different aspects of science, which is engineering, and also your microbiology, and also your validations. Now, validation has come into the spotlight and become important due to what we are experiencing right now, the pandemics, and then we are also seeing the importance of validation through what transpired previously, which was the listeriosis, which was the bologna for Tiger brand. A speaker here told me and said that there is a disconnect between production, quality managers, and validation managers. Why? Usually production managers want to push numbers, and the quality manager wants quality. And the validation, well, they ask, where do we fit in? So what combines all of us to solve these problems is that we start by looking at the SLAs, managing expectation from all inter-departments, because solving a problem can never be a single approach. Solving a problem is a holistic approach with the various departments coming together, with the various departments understanding how they relate to one another. Now, what is the biggest challenge to strategy? It's all good to be here, and everybody here has an understanding to some extent of all the technicalities that we require in our industries, whether it's chemical industries, whether it's pharmaceutical industries. Now, what we see as challenges is the dissociation between upper management, middle management, and the operators. The biggest people that sacrifice or sabotage your strategy are the operators. And often the operators are left out because at high level, these guidelines, these definitions, these concepts are well understood. But who runs your business? Can anybody tell me that as an exec, as a manager, they run the business by themselves? Anyone? No. So, experience has shown that the dissociation between operators, middle management, and upper management, the operators commonly say that quality is for the quality manager, not me. And this GMP thing is for the validation manager. Or these guys just come and they waste our time by doing, I don't know what they do on these equipments. So the terminology is not well understood at the basic level. It's understood at a high level. And then when we implement these things, we get a recoil in strategy and we are not effective in what we're trying to achieve. And we cannot ignore this. Experience has shown in many facilities that I have been a consultant on, many facilities where I've seen problems or asked to perform a risk assessment, it always solves it here. And it never solves it at the foundation of it. Because the minute you put all these processes and all these systems in place, and they ought to be working for you, the operator does not have an appreciation of those technicalities. Why? He does not value them. So the key word here is value. We value these technical jargons. We value these guidelines as professionals, as educated professionals, because quality is everyone's responsibility. Whether in the factory that we're manufacturing, and also in the communities that we serve and the markets we serve, quality is a central point. What normally happens is that operators get to a point where they say, this does not affect me. They'll have a spillage and they won't know what the consequence of that is. They'll reuse a gun and they won't understand what that is. And then also, when we derive strategy at a high level, then we enforce what we discussed at high level through SOPs. Now, we have drawn the SOPs and then we need to go train the operators, isn't it? And it's supposed to work because everybody understands the SOP. But what that is a disconnect of understanding why the SOP is in place and the bigger picture of why we're doing what we're doing. There's a plant that I went to for Ford, and then I asked them, why are we having these conversations and we're not including the guys on the ground? He simply said to me, Sia, I prefer them not to think. So that is a risk on its own. And yes, we can say, oh yeah, but there are some managers that are here that also align with that strategy. We divorce from the operators, and they're the ones that handle our products. They're the ones that handle our equipment. They're the ones that we look onto as the workers. And so we funnel down strategy to them and assume that we're a sausage machine because we have come to the clean room, the Basan Forum, and therefore we are well oiled, we feel great about ourselves, but feeling great without effect is not impactful. We can impress, but we cannot empower. So change has to happen where we involve the operators in our businesses and make them understand the why they're doing what they're doing. And I think it was Rajesh that said your answers also come from operators. That's true. That's very true. Your answer comes from the operators. And immediately the operators, small things like innovations that you can allow them to do, that small level of listening to them and them seeing their idea on the big screen encourages them and makes them feel like they're part of the whole. So the biggest threat to our industry right now is not the inability, is not the lack of skill, is not the lack of being compatible to what we are doing. It is through communication. Communication has to be the central point that any effective organization wants to rise up and achieve must address. Because if you're not addressing that, this whole exercise is futile. From service providers, it's futile. From consultants, it's futile. From magnificent designs, it's futile. From strategy, it's futile. From anybody, it is futile. Now then you ask, yeah, well, what we need to do? Bear with me, then I tell you. I'll tell you. We have now moved to a point where we need to be proactive versus reactive. The pandemic has shown us, it has caught us off guard, and that challenges our systems. When we're now reacting and putting all these solutions in place, we are only being reactive, but we are not having visionary leadership. What is visionary leadership? Visionary leadership says,